Hey guys, what's going on? The Comics Kid 2099 here. Welcome to day 263 of the 365-day graphic novel review challenge. A little bit of backstory about today's video before I actually start talking about the book. A long time ago, for the longest time, I had the first 4 volumes of Dragon Ball. The volumes that look like this and are about that long. I had the first 4 volumes, and then I was able to find volumes 5 through 8. About 2 months ago, I was shopping, just happened to find those volumes, and so I went ahead and bought those. And then whenever I was making my plans for all of the books that I was going to talk about in the month of September, I decided to go ahead and schedule that I would be talking about the first 8 volumes of Dragon Ball. And then after I had made those plans, purely by accident, I found like 9 volumes of the VizBig collections of Dragon Ball. There was a few volumes of Dragon Ball and a few volumes of Dragon Ball Z, which one of my viewers, I believe it was Jugulator, he mentioned in the comments that originally the whole series was just Dragon Ball. It was only in America that it was split up into Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. So this is what the VizBig volumes look like. Today, I will be talking about VizBig Volume 3, which collects Volumes 7, 8, and 9. Now, since I've already talked about Volumes 7 and 8, basically I'm only going to be talking about Volume 9. Now, there's one thing that these little volumes do that I actually prefer over what the VizBig volumes do. If you look on the spine here, you can see a little picture of Goku riding the Kintown. If you put all 42 of these books together, there is a really cool spine art that goes from one volume to another. You get to see a little bit of the dragon on each spine, you get to see Krillin on one spine, or Yamcha on one, and then when you put them all together, it's this really cool picture that combines. And I think that's really cool. These VizBig volumes do not do that. On here, you just have Goku jumping from the sky, but it does not continue on the VizBig Volume 4. And that's a shame, because I think that's kind of a cool feature if you have a long-running series and you have all the volumes next to each other, but I would prefer having fewer longer volumes than 42 shorter volumes. It would take me most of my lifetime to try and find all the other volumes of Dragon Ball and then Dragon Ball Z. It doesn't take hardly any time at all to find 3 times fewer volumes that are a lot bigger. So I do prefer the idea of the VizBig volumes as opposed to the smaller volumes that are about 12 chapters each. Speaking of Volume 9, which is what I will be talking about today in VizBig Volume 3, it collects chapters 97 through 108 of the original Dragon Ball manga that was published in Shonen Jump Weekly by Akira Toriyama. And this volume has Goku trying to find the 7th Dragon Ball, which for some reason he cannot find on his Dragon Ball radar that Bulma gave him. And so, or technically, actually, it's a replica of the radar that Bulma gave him, created by one of the characters from Dr. Slump. But he takes it to Bulma, and she says, well, there's nothing wrong with the radar. It must mean that something has swallowed the ball. If a hippo or an alligator swallows the Dragon Ball, the radar cannot go through organic material. So they go to the all-seeing crone. Spoilers, we find out that she is the older sister of Master Roshi. Now, that doesn't make any sense, because we were told in previous volumes that Master Roshi is immortal, and that he is over 300 years old, and that he drank an immortality potion. I'm pretty sure that his pet turtle mentioned that he had drank an immortality potion to make him be immortal. We are never told that his sister also drank that potion, so I don't know if that's just an inconsistency, or if both of them drank the potion whenever they were young. I don't know, and by young, I mean like over 300 years ago. But anyway, they go to the all-seeing crone, or as Goku calls her, the ball-seeing crone, which I thought was hilarious, because Goku's looking for Dragon Ball, and then they're like, no, it's the all-seeing crone. But anyway, they go to her, and they're like, hey, we need to know where the 7th Dragon Ball is. And she says, okay, it will cost you $10 million. And they're like, we don't have that. And she says, okay, then you will need to fight 5 of my champions. And then most of this volume is them fighting her champions. And it's a nice little change of pace, I guess. As I've said before, Akira Toriyama was very much influenced by martial arts movies, and he already did a very long-running tournament under the heavens, the Strongest Under the Heavens tournament. He already did that, and then he got away from the martial arts stuff a little bit to have Goku looking for the Dragon Balls, and this quest for the Dragon Balls lasted a lot longer than the previous quest, which started the series. So I guess at this point, he wanted to take another little break from the adventures that we had been doing with the Red Ribbon Army and Goku looking for the balls, and get back to the martial arts stuff. And that's fine, because it doesn't last like 3 volumes like the Strongest Ascended to Heaven's storyline did. It's a nice, quick little fight storyline. I think it moves along at a good pace. We have several little twists in there that I think are very good. There's one that I saw it coming pretty much as soon as this one character was introduced. There's a character wearing a mask who is working for the Crone. I was pretty easily able to figure out who it was because the book is playing this character as if it is someone that we know. It's a mystery. They're wearing a mask, and so I'm thinking, okay, it has to be somebody. It can't just be the janitor that we've never seen before. It has to be somebody that we know. And I was able to pretty easily figure out who it was just based on certain clues, but I won't say who that was here. But that's a nice little moment whenever we get that. Speaking of the fight, there is something about this book that I noticed, and I don't know this for sure, but I'm pretty sure that the VizBig volumes, at least, or at least this one, has been censored a little bit more than these volumes have. I mentioned a couple of times in some of my earlier reviews that these books are definitely for a slightly more mature audience than what the tone would suggest. Some of the tone of this series is very, I don't want to say childish, but very young and naive, I guess is a good way to put it. And that comes largely from the protagonist being very pure of heart. He is not a very dirty, filthy-minded character, so this is the kind of character that I wouldn't mind letting my child read about Goku if I had a child, and if the rest of the series wasn't as pervy as it is. And that's not a diss or anything. I have been enjoying this series, but pretty much all of the other characters are quite a bit more mature, and there's a lot more adult humor going on with them than there is with Goku. For example, Master Roshi, he wanted to see Bulma topless, he wanted to touch her breasts, he wanted to take a look at her panties, stuff like that. That's stuff that I would not allow my child to see, but if it was just Goku having these very pure-hearted adventures, I'd be like, yeah, that's something that I wouldn't mind letting a kid see. But as I mentioned in some of my other videos, this series has a little bit of nudity in it. You see Goku naked many times over the series. In fact, I think you see him naked at once in this volume, whenever they go shopping to get him some new clothes. And then you also see Bulma topless a few times, and they don't shy away from showing anything. They actually show her topless. Well, then, in this volume, at one point, Yamcha is fighting one of the Crone's men, and he is the Invisible Man, or at least he is an Invisible Man. And then Krillin has this idea that if Master Roshi sees Bulma topless, then his nose will start bleeding, as it has before, and then Master Roshi's nosebleed will get all over the Invisible Man, and then Yamcha will be able to see the Invisible Man. Pretty clever. So Krillin pulls Bulma's shirt down, and she's wearing a bra. Now, I don't mind. As I've said before, I'm a little bit of a prude, and if they had taken this great length to cover up any nudity in this series before, this is something that I would be a little less wary about showing to a young child. But it's a little weird that here, Bulma is wearing a bra and Master Roshi is freaking out and his nose starts bleeding, but then in other points in the series, we very clearly see her topless, like actually topless. And so I have this theory that the VizBig volumes have been altered as far as the art goes, and it doesn't bother me too much, but there are people out there who are very much purists when it comes to art, and they wouldn't like that a series has been altered against the wishes of the creator of the series. Now, I don't know if Akira Toriyama has any strong feelings one way or the other about this. For all I know, maybe this is how he drew it originally. I just feel like if he didn't have any qualms about showing Bulma in the shower, and we get a very good look at her in the shower, but then here he has her wearing a bra, and that's enough to set off Master Roshi's nosebleed, I have a feeling that he wouldn't have drawn her with a bra. That's just based off of my I guess what I've noticed reading this series up until now. So if that's something that bothers you, if you don't like it when a company alters the artwork when they're collecting a series and they change it in some way, then just keep that in mind whenever you're reading the VizBig volumes. But for me, I think that this volume is pretty good. Also, there is one chapter in this volume, and I was looking through some of the stuff that was from chapters 7 and 8, and it looks like with each volume that's collected within the VizBig, there is one chapter that is in color. and that's a little weird. It's kind of cool. I like the coloring there. It looks like it was done with a coloring pencil, and I think that's stylistically that's a very neat choice. But it's very strange whenever I'm reading this up until now, this very much black and white series that's always been in black and white, and then I turn the page and suddenly this chapter's in color, and then for a few pages it's in color, and then it goes back to being in black and white. It's a little jolting. It takes me out of the story just a little bit. I would have preferred the whole volume be colored or the whole volume not be colored, but I did like the coloring work that was done in that chapter. I thought it was done very well. It just took me out of the story a little bit. So those are my thoughts on Dragon Ball VizBig Volume 3, also known as Dragon Ball Volume 9 for the purposes of this video. I won't be talking about any more Dragon Ball for the foreseeable future. I do have several other of the VizBig volumes, but because they are so huge, it would take me like most of the day to read a book of this size. I'm not going to be talking about any more for the foreseeable future. So tomorrow, I'll be talking about something different, so look forward to that starting tomorrow. In the meantime, I hope that you guys liked this video. If you did, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow to talk about something different. You guys have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.